Welcome back, fellow Nerdsters. We are back, the Nerdsters of the universe. I'm Kerwin.
I'm Pizza.
And we've got a friend with us.
We have our special guest, Hollow Queen, with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
We always hear in the comic book stores and everywhere else, a lot of the nerds think, oh my God, it's a woman. What does she know? I have to tell you, from all our experience, she is definitely Jedi level nerd with the rest of us here.
Oh, yeah. So, big topic. You guys excited about Friday?
I can't wait.
Winter Soldier? Sure.
Oh,
You think Thursday?
Thursday is when...
Is Thursday? I thought it was Friday. Thursday. Okay.
We live in the golden age of superhero content, where one day we have Justice League, the next day we have Marvel.
I was just going, maybe it won't, release early, like people who are getting the free or getting the premiere that got postponed because of outages. So, I was just looking at that type of thing. They've had some issues. I mean, technically, didn't it release like last week on accident under Tom and Jerry?
Was it Tom and Jerry? I knew there was something they put up that whoops, all Snyder.
Yeah, it was Tom and Jerry.
I wish I would have known it was out, because with the Tom and Jerry thing, I know it's not the Tom and Jerry I grew up with, so I didn't bother. And then from what I'm hearing, I probably won't bother.
All the reviews say.
But if you knew it was Justice League, you might have gone after it. That sounds like a really small window where it was available. So
yeah,
he was like,
I went, oh crap, fix that.
Yeah, sadly, I had already watched Tom and Jerry with the kids, and I saw that it was streaming as Tom and Jerry, and I clicked on it. But I guess if you'd already watched it, it knew what you were wanting to watch, or it knew what you were clicking on.
Oh, geez.
Darn it.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm ready for this. I'm 4 hours. We're gonna set up the bathroom breaks accordingly beforehand, and just all I know is suck it up the rest of the way.
I'm just glad that they're doing 4 hours and it's not an actual theater.
Yeah.
We have to wait for a quiet moment. It's like, oh, my bladder's gonna explode.
Now, see, I've got a question about that. I've been reading that it is 4-something hours, but they're not. Are they releasing it all at once, or are they releasing it in different episodes?
No, it's coming all at once.
All coming at once, yeah.
All right, because I'd read two different ones. I'd read that it was releasing in different parts, and then I read that it was releasing at once, but it's still going to show like Act 1, Act 2 type, and then have some sort of, oh, I just lost the term. I feel like an idiot. Intermission throughout.
That kind of thing you need to have some sort of intermission. Mind you, like I said, it's on a home video format, so you could pause it if you're going to have internal organ failure.
Yeah, right.
That's why I was always curious about why, like a home format. Why does it need an intermission? I've never thought that something like that would need.
Some people forget the button exists.
If you got to go somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
I have a feeling. I have a feeling that a lot of these things were engineered not really knowing what's going to happen, because we've all kind of been in a stasis unit for the last year.
Yeah.
So on the off chance that it may go to a live format where you would have to deal with an entire crowd of strangers, that they might have an intermission so people can relieve themselves.
Yeah.
It's a good way to set it up for that, for a theatrical release.
My nerdling. I'm not a nerd. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Go to bed.
I've been watching the regular cut. I've been watching the ultimate cut, they call it now. I'm waiting for the Snyder cut to hit now hard.
All right, you. Bed.
What's the ultimate cut?
The ultimate cut's the one they have on there now. It wasn't really that much different than the original one. There was a couple little things here and there, But you got to figure from 2 hours plus to 4 hours,
Yeah.
it's going to be.
So the
they're
ultimate
saying-
cut,
Huh?
the ultimate cut wasn't in the Blu-ray release.
I think they have it as a Blu-ray release, the ultimate cut.
Because I bought the Blu-ray a while back and I watched that one. I didn't know if that was the ultimate cut or not. I can't remember. I thought it was, but I get HBO Max. But if I own it on Blu-ray, I don't watch it on HBO Max. I pull out the Blu-ray and watch it.
Yeah, it wasn't really that much different than the original cut. They put a few little things in here and there, a little more, but when you're going from 2 hours to 4 hours, there's supposed to be a lot more backstory in there, a lot more Easter eggs, more scenes, more characters.
Hopefully less nonsense. Hopefully less nonsense.
Yeah. Everybody that's seen it so far said this is going to be putting DC back in the race with Marvel.
I have serious misgivings about this. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, to be honest.
It's not going to make any difference with DC.
No.
They've already it's its own little thing. I don't see them bringing Snyder on to do more. It's obvious they've got a clear vision of where they want to go with different situations. They're happy with where Wonder Woman's going. You know, these film studios, they only look at the numbers. They don't look at the reviews completely. They look at the numbers. And Wonder Woman 84 brought a lot of money. A lot of views, a lot of money.
Yeah, everybody wanted to see it because they were waiting because the first one was great.
Was it
the second one was
that's the thing. Will the third one bring a lot of money like the second one did? No.
The first one was great right up until the third act where it fell apart.
I love the first
one. Awful.
Yeah, I liked it too. I was really good with the first one.
The second one was awful.
Yeah,
the
second
one really sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wanted to love it. I really wanted to, but I couldn't.
That bothers me when these movies fall flat is you can see where if they'd just gone this way, it would have worked. And no, you made all of the wrong decisions. No.
Where they go flat, and you can watch this in every single film. Where they go flat is the moment that the storyteller takes control of the story away from the characters. The moment you have a story go away from the characters, that's when it falls flat. Especially characters that have already been developed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. Is you've got these characters that have already been developed. They've already got their history. So many people know their history, and when you create these people, when you create these characters, they have their own personalities.
Oh, they do.
Make decisions based on their personalities. And when a writer comes in and goes, "Well, I would rather them do this," being a puppet master like that doesn't always bring out a good film. It's, you can have the characters drive the story and still have a bad film based on, character design, prop design, horrible writing, as far as dialogue goes. But
when you look at the vast armies of people who work on these movies, it's a miracle we get any good ones at all. When you're dealing with that number of people who have to come together and work in harmony to bring something together and make it cohesive, that many cooks in the kitchen, I'm surprised we get any good movies at all.
There are a lot of people, but I mean, I haven't been on any sets as far as Marvel movies, DC movies. I mean, I've been on a set of some low budget movies, and yeah, there's still a lot of people. What you run into is the jobs are more of on a micro nature. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people involved, but they're so selected that only a few of them have to mesh. As long as you've got these 5 people meshing and these 5 people meshing, and then this one person taking those items and meshing them. So it's not like you have to have everybody has to be on the exact same page. It's a book. You've got multiple pages, and your editor has to be able to put the book together. Your director and secondary director. And that was one thing that I thought was really interesting. I mean, going to film school and learning it and then being on the set of that movie was seeing how independent different departments are and how I'd say one of the most interesting parts for me is the score of a movie. Mm. The fact that a composer can sit down and score a movie based on a rough draft, and then see the movie and then be able to tweak it. And then they get to orchestrate all the people they have in it after writing the music for it. And to me, that's the part that just every time I watch a movie that has an amazing score, I'm just like, wow. And then
I think with a lot of these, the same thing has always been what I've said before. When you get these new directors in and they want to take developed characters and put their vision to it and put their little twist on it, that's when they're screwing with characters that we all know and love. And then you get the purists like me and maybe some not quite purists, but people that have read the comic book and know the characters. And then we all kind of just sit there and shake our heads like, nah, that's not right. What's he doing? There's
a fine line to walk. I mean, there's always going to be tweaks for adaptation. You're always going to be dealing with somebody's interpretation of the character.
Right.
But it's how true to the original and how well does that original serve the story.
Yeah. Exactly. My opinion has always been with comic book movies. DC has done a decent job with this in their past films. That sentence doesn't always come out for a lot of DC movies, but they in a few of their past films, they've been able to take a character that wasn't huge and bring them to the forefront and, allow the filmmaker their own liberties with it, utilizing a character within the realm of canon, but still having the ability to mold it however they want without completely and totally destroying it.
Mm-hmm.
An example would be sort of like Scarecrow in Batman Begins. I mean, Scarecrow, a lot, he had his own mythos. A lot of people liked him, but he wasn't as well known and he wasn't used as much to where even those who knew the character, as long as they stuck with somewhat of the personality type and got some of the mechanics right, they could mold him to work for the story they were working for. Where you get the Joker, you can't mold that one so much. Too many people are passionate about it.
The characters themselves are actually pretty malleable. I mean, how many different runs have you had in the comics alone? Like it's not even getting into the different adaptations and the different types there, but even just the comics. You'll have one run with one author, one run with another author, and that sort of thing. So, there is some malleability there.
Well, there's always malleability with the characters, but you got to keep in mind, even in the comics realm, there's a lot of us that like certain runs, and don't like certain runs. There's a lot of people that will read, they'll sit down and they'll read an author's version of a character and just despise it and be like, "What did you do?" And then the comic company turns around and goes, "Oh, well, this is part of a different universe, but we're going to reset it and make this the new character."
Yeah.
And then the book doesn't last for more than 12 months. And they're like, "Oh, well, we're canceling that book again." And, "Oh, we're going to come out with a new 52. And then, within a few years after that, let's reset it again. No one likes the way we've done these characters this time."
But that's the thing, is you're also adapting characters across time. Some things that made sense for Batman in the 30s don't make sense now.
It's like me and Robert were talking about one of our previous lives with the 1960s TV series. The Adam West Batman. He was based on the,
the campy comic
Batman.
Books of the time.
The campy comics. So, to turn around and try to have that Batman now would just be
ridiculous. Yeah.
It would be like watching Batman and Robin.
Yeah. They're trying to get to, I think they're going back a little more to the original comics. Like in 1941, Batman was a dark character.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're giving. I still am going to turn my nose up at Batman yet right now. I may come back here after the movie comes out. I may have loved it. I don't know. But the same way everybody said about Keaton and Kilmer and Affleck, I liked Affleck. I was always kind of with him, but
the thing that kills me about Batman is I don't think there's ever been a Batman that people have been happy with until after they've seen him. Except possibly, and this is stupid, but Clooney. People were really excited about freaking Clooney. And I was like, no.
We're talking about Batman.
I can't.
Talking about Batman fans, not ER fans. And yes, Rob, you are allowed to be here.
Yes, Jen. Hi, Jen.
I haven't been watching comments.
Yep,
Jen.
Hi, Yvonne.
Everybody's allowed to be here.
I crashed. Everyone's allowed to be here.
Everybody.
But yeah, no. And my thing is like with Robert Pattinson being Batman. When I first heard the casting, I was like, I got to give him a chance. When I started seeing the hate, I was like, well, he's obviously going to kill it because everybody threw a fit when Keaton was cast. Everybody threw a fit when Ledger was cast as Joker, and then they killed it. Now everybody's throwing a fit about Pattinson being cast, and I think he's going to kill it. But then I decided to go out and watch some of his more recent movies, and if Robert Pattinson's Batman if it's not up to par, I will say this, it's not his fault. If it's not up to par, it's the filmmaker. It's going to be the director and the writers trying to go a different way with it.
Pattinson has the acting chops.
Yeah.
It will depend on what he's given.
I've seen his other work, and his other work is great. I just don't know if he's got – I could say he's probably up for the role of Batman. It's not kind of in his wheelhouse, I think. The closest he's come to it is what? Cedric Diggory? You know, he played a whiny vampire, and then he played Cedric Diggory, who died right away.
Did you know he
Diggory got a movie.
No, he's done. Rob, you got to look at some of his more recent movies. Check out Lighthouse. Check out the one where he's in space. What is that?
I haven't seen Lighthouse yet, but
you got to check out some of these films, man. He is killing it in the acting world. A lot of these are done by the same production company. They're not high budget, but like you could sit there and you watch it, and then you know it's him, but you're still going, is that him? Like, how is he? Like, really? I mean, the dude can transform.
He wasn't tapped to lead one of the biggest franchises ever because he's just pretty. He's got the acting chops. It's whether or not he's a good fit for the role, and it's what he's given.
I think you're right with what he's given, because I've seen the way the pictures they're showing of Bruce Wayne, and he looks almost like a cross between Batman and the Penguin from Gotham, with that emo dark hairdo thing.
I love the Penguin from Gotham.
I like the Penguin, but that's not.
Yeah, I know.
Another situation, Robert, is we also have to look at the time. Okay. We have to understand where we are in the present with where they're basing the film. So if Pattinson's Batman movie is based in our current time, then a late teens, early 20s Bruce Wayne is going, especially when this is obviously going to be like a year one thing, to where it's like right when he becomes Batman, or so on, is going to be based on that person now. And then that's a huge thing. They're going to look at the pop culture. They're going to look at, probably scroll through Facebook or whatever and see what people look like now, especially in that mentality. Because that's the other thing. It's bringing about the mentality of who he is. He's not an inner city kid, but he's a rich city kid who has been battling depression for years because his parents were murdered in front of him. What does someone like that look like today?
I mean, I realize you have to update it to fit today's crowd and today's audience, but when you're releasing a movie like that and you have the Justice League coming out and things like that, I mean, you have to figure out, okay, how did he go from this, to what they're giving us in the other films? That's when I start getting, a little cranky too. They're trying to put it like a year one style Batman out, when for the last few years we've been getting Batman, Superman, Justice League. These are coming out too.
Honestly,
it's a different universe. Sorry, Halloween?
I think it'll be a palate cleanser. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Snyder. I'm not.
not Snyder either. I love Affleck as Batman, and I think if they would have given him a younger Batman to start out with, because he wasn't any older than Clooney was when Clooney did the role. If they would have given him a younger Batman to start out with, and I'm not saying a Batman year one, but something a little bit more of, I guess, the Batman experience that Kilmer was in Batman Forever, that time frame, if they would have given Affleck a Batman in that time frame and then moved on to the whole, I want to be retired from this, I've lost too many people, blah, 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 that whole thing, I think he would have been received a lot more. Again, it's what the actor's given to act. And going back to Pattinson, I honestly, my thoughts on it are, one, it's its own universe. It's separate from the Justice League universe we've got going on right now. It's like Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. I think I read they were working on a Gotham prequel to it to release on HBO Max.
I heard that too.
So it's got its own universe going. And then at the same time, Robert, look to your past and look at some pictures of you when you were in your late teens, early 20s, and then look ahead 5 years. Then look ahead 5 years. As people, we do evolve. We change.
Well, yeah.
Sure. And, if this is a year one situation, it's going to be his angsty, depressed start. And then as he sort of, it is his own therapy. So the more he does it, the more he becomes Batman and also realizes he has to put on the persona of Bruce Wayne and matures, and then we'll get that. I think that's where they're going to go with it if they go that route.
I mean, they're kind of keeping it hush-hush, a lot of it, so I'm going to have to watch it. But my problem with all of these movies anymore is that's their way out. It's a different universe. Oh, it's a different this. It's different that. Like with DC Comics. I mean, how many different universes are they going to have?
I was going to say, Rob, did you read the DC Comics? I mean, they're just...
I know.
Man.
That's what I mean. I'm sick of it. Everything just to describe their new story they want to put. Oh, this is a different universe. Like now they have Death Metal, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Different universe. I used to like the Elseworlds comics when they would do something like that, but they still kept the regular Batman going, normally. Like the Elseworlds with Pirate, when he was a pirate, he was Jungle Book was Superman. When Superman landed in the jungle, it was Mowgli.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think, they're using the alternate universe a little too much these days to put out a story that they want to put out. And
the thing is, it's not so much of them. They're using it to reboot their mistakes.
Well,
in the 90s or in the 80s, the first Crisis was done to clean house.
Oh yeah.
They had way too many storylines, way too many things going, and comics had become extremely popular. Like they were growing in popularity. Once the 80s hit, the golden age had paved the way, and they decided to clean house. So they did Crisis to clean house, and then they were doing that for so long. Then they turned around and tried to do the by the time they hit the 90s, they tried to do the whole let's not reset it every time, but let's just make it like a soap opera. Like we'll kill this character now, and then a year later he'll show up that he randomly was able to survive this encounter, and or this happened. It felt more like a soap opera where a character dies. Oh, it's okay. 2 years when his agent gets him his job back, he'll come back that it was his twin brother that died or something.
Well, that was the 80s. With Superman, you had how many different titles of Superman, and they were all going in different directions. And in the 90s, they started putting them as Superman in Action Comics, and then the story would continue in just Superman, and then Superman DC. It was a big soap opera in all the titles, and then they did the Death of Superman, and then they just went haywire from there with the 4 Rise of the Superman, and then Return of the Superman, and.
Which don't get me wrong, I buy these comics, but
my worry is we're not selling $5 books anymore.
Right.
We're selling multi-billion-dollar movies, and if we take these plot lines and make it too arcane for somebody to buy in, somebody who hasn't seen all the movies, somebody who could walk in and go, "Wait a second, wasn't they in somebody else's movie? And now I'm confused."
Yeah.
That they're going to lose the audience. And if they lose, like, you are going to go, you're going to go, I'm going to go, we're all going to go. Right. It's not us if we're losing.
I'm never going to go. It can be the crap, and I'll still watch it. I'm still eventually going to buy, Howard the Duck on Blu-ray the next time I see it, just because
but you're going to see it.
Gotta have it.
You're not the audience that they're afraid of losing.
No, it's exactly.
As an audience, is not going to bring in the millions, if not billions, of dollars that they need. They need a wider general audience, and if they do too many of these splinter timelines and stuff like that, they're going to lose the core audience.
Well, I think where their is with it is someone needs to do themselves. They got to get. I
think it sounds like it's coming from you.
From me?
You were reverbing there for a minute.
No, I was hearing it too. It's gone now. I didn't touch
okay.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the appeal of, you got to get the new audience in. You want to get the new crowd in, but you want to do just enough to keep the old people coming in still, and that kind of theory. But
it's a hard line to walk. I mean, at its core, the comics are really simple stories. They're simple stories about people, and the people are fairly broadly drawn, so you can handle that. What they need to do is bring those stories and hype them up and bring them to a larger audience. And I think too many people are afraid that they're not going to work.
That's the biggest problem. They're afraid that it's not going to go from comic to movie. It's not going to go from comic to film properly. So they do their own twist on it, and that to me is where they lose it.
Honestly, when you're talking about Batman and Superman, you can go anywhere in the world and show somebody this symbol and know who the hell it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Superman is like Batman and Superman. Like you could do that. You can't really do that with Iron Man. Maybe you can now, but definitely not 10 years ago.
Right.
But you could go anywhere in the world with a Superman logo or Batman logo. People know who that is. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to be constructive. You just have to show it to people.
I mean, I understand you have to keep evolving the characters as well. You got to figure they're 80 years old.
Yeah.
Superman was 1938. Batman was 1941. Wonder Woman was still in the 40s too. So, I mean, you got 70 and 80-year-old characters that you got to try and fit the 21st century, 2020, And it's just, I mean, you've seen the way the characters evolved in the first place. Superman didn't even fly when he first came out. He just jumped.
Yeah. Well, that's always been one of my problems with Superman is I've always told all my friends and everybody, Superman's greatest power is what he has in his pocket. Because no matter what they throw out of him, he pulls out a new power out of his pocket to defeat it.
Superman has all the powers and Batman has all the toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, someone's going to come after he's going to come out with a new power to defeat it. It doesn't matter what he's up against. I guess that's part of where I'm disconnected with him is I don't see him as someone that can die. And even in the 90s, they killed Superman. He's coming back.
He'll be back. He'll be back. I always used to say I wanted a Batman utility belt because if everything Adam West used to pull out of his belt, he should weigh 400 or 500 pounds with all the crap he supposedly had.
It's extra dimensional.
They started to address that with
utility belt of holding. It's the utility belt of holding.
Yeah. They started to address that with Christian Bale. Like when he jumped down on top of the van and he was saying how heavy he was and he just crushed the van in with all the crap he carries and the armor and everything, which I thought was interesting when they finally addressed that. But it kind of takes a little mystery away when you can pull anything out of his belt and just go,
What's Superman going to do now that the phone booths are gone? Well, honestly, he hasn't used phone booths since like the 70s.
Well, yeah, Christopher Reeves, he did it just running. He did that running change thing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I thought the phone booth was the dumbest thing they'd ever done for Superman. Because it's like, I need to change where no one can see me. So no one can see somebody run into a phone booth and only Superman comes out?
And the whole, I'm Superman. I'm Clark Kent. It's like,
that actually works.
We joked about that for years. It's like, let me put glasses on. I can sneak out of the house. It's like.
But honestly, there's a scene with Clark Kent in one of the Reeves movies where he pulls off the glasses and he straightens himself all the way up, and it's a great acting moment for him. And he straightens himself all the way up, and he's about to tell Lois that he is Superman, And nope, he drinks back into the glass and he goes. It's like
I love
the transformation. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
even in the 70s when he went for the phone booth and it was just the phone hanging on the pole and he kind of looked like what the and he did it in a revolving door. That was the best.
and speaking of the whole Superman to Clark transformation type thing, in the new Superman and Lois show, the guy, it was one of those that was on, huh?
I haven't watched that yet. I have to watch that.
Ooh,
It's
good. I like it. I really like
it's
it.
worth it. I was on the fence about the guy because, I wasn't a fan of him that much of Supergirl, but, to be fair, they weren't focusing on Superman. They were focusing on Supergirl.
Yeah.
I like him in Supergirl.
I think they tweaked it enough.
Well, you didn't get enough to see how he would play both roles. And he does that whole situation of he pulls off when he's Clark, he pulls off being, clumsy, not being able to do certain things.
Yeah.
And then when he's Superman. I mean, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched it, Halloween. Spoiler alert. It's not a big spoiler, all right? There's actually a scene in one of the episodes where they joke about it a little bit. They joke about him, trying to be.
Honestly, in the year of our Lord 2021, the whole idea that you can have a secret identity is a little ludicrous.
He's Superman. He get away with it. That's one of his powers. Remember?
They addressed that in Supergirl. In the first season of Supergirl, Argus was the one that gave him the glasses for her to wear, and it had some kind of scrambling thing in it.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't kind of get, I don't know if they could think of something like that back in the day. I guess I want to say in the 30s you were just stupid and just thought, hey, glasses, no glasses.
Well, in the 30s you didn't have cameras in every corner watching your every
that's true.
move.
And I do notice that every
technology before World War II.
But every superhero movie anymore now, everybody figures out who it is. Even in Spider-Man: Far From Home, MJ figured out who he was, and he came out. Oh yeah, I'm Spider-Man.
Well, MJ figured out. She was guessing.
Yeah, she kind of tweaked it, but
he's like, "You're Spider-Man," and was waiting for him to completely not throw her down, and he was like,
"Yeah,
really? I was just guessing."
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
I mean, everybody just sort of knows who everybody is. I mean, the Justice League always knew who people were, but and we have to say, yes, Crashly, that was a nice move with the coffee cup there. But I mean, I'm hoping they come out, and I know the Easter eggs they're planting in the new movie with stuff like this. They're supposed to address a lot of it, like Flash. Everybody figures out who he is eventually, too. I mean, it's a little easier when he's got the full face stuff on, but
and he runs blurringly fast too.
Yeah, but
I've run into this with my own homegrown comics characters. It's like I have one character who's magic, and she uses illusion to mask the fact that she has a secret identity. She doesn't look the same, but yeah, it's a problem.
Mine is the current Aquaman, because Aquaman don't wear glasses. He barely wears the suit sometimes in the first few movies, and I told them here, I said, well, it's just such a badass, no one's going to call him on it, you know what I mean? Now, if it was the old Aquaman, everybody would have been like, all right, it's you,
I still remember the first time I saw the picture of Jason Momoa in the Aquaman outfit. I'm going, yes, thank you.
That's what everybody said. Every woman I know said that. They're like, oh, you want to get women involved in the Justice League?
Aquaman used to
Aquaman posters up. Even my sister Tracy came out and said, hey, look, I just became a nerd. So, as soon as she saw Jason Momoa, she's like, yeah, I'm a nerd now. So,
Mind you, we haven't had a shortage of pretty people in superhero roles. So, I mean, I'll take Chris Hemsworth, too. Thank you very much.
I'll take your word for it. I'll still stick to Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. Even today, how many years later, I like her. She's still...
Sorry.
Gal Gadot's good looking. She's a good Wonder Woman, but she's not Linda Carter,
My father-in-law used to call Linda Carter's Wonder Woman Wonder movies, so it's kind of
And I was watching that show. I watch it on HBO Max or one of them now that's got the old episodes of Wonder Woman on it. And that's the whole episode of her running, like the opening of Baywatch when that came on. She's running, she's bouncing, she's stopping crime.
Finest.
And to be fair, it wasn't just because it was Wonder Woman. That was the style of show. Look at the Bionic Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The $1,000 man or $1 million man or whatever.
$1 million man, yeah.
The same idea. I mean, even when The Incredible Hulk came out, it was the same mentality. It was constantly move and then build up to a third act, throw the third act out there, and then call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was it almost feels like they're afraid to lose the audience as the episode's playing out.
Yeah.
Like you're watching it going, they're worried about me leaving, so they're trying to keep it going fast type situation.
Keep it running. Nobody's going to wander away. Can't lose their attention.
Yeah.
I
will say though, with the pretty boys and girls they have now in the show, like even with Affleck in Batman versus Superman, you had that whole 5-minute scene of him working out just for the women with the shirt off and just sweatpants on, sweating away, working out.
Sweetie, that's not just for the women. That's also a power fantasy for you guys.
I maybe looked like that when I was in my 20s, but not, those days are long behind me now.
Yeah, but tell me you're like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Oh, sure. Sure. I'm 52 years old. I'm the one sitting there going, I remember when I did that.
Again, this is where part of it is sometimes casting can disconnect you from it. Is I see Affleck doing that, I'm going, well, crap, I'm slacking because I should be able to do what Affleck can do. I mean, seriously, if Affleck can do it, Arrow and see Stephen Amell do stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm no Stephen Amell, so I can't do that. But I'm sitting there watching the guy from Dazed and Confused doing this stuff. I'm like, I should be able to do that.
Yeah. If we had a personal trainer and a private chef and how many days paid a week to work out and to do all that stuff to do it.
Nobody's paying us to look pretty.
Right.
Yeah. Paying us to look pretty, we'd look a lot prettier.
The closest I came was when I was in the military. I used to be stationed with the Marines. So that's all they do.
To be in shape. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was in shape back then, but I was also 19, 20, 21, not 50, 51, 52,
Yeah,
all I can do is look at my pictures of the old days and sing glory days, and that's about it. All I can do now, but break into that chorus of glory days and be done with it.
Going back to talking about Snyder Cut.
Okay.
I do worry a little bit that it is 4-something hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Because if memory serves, that's going to be a long nap.
Yeah.
I went to the theater and I watched Superman, the Man of Steel. And then I went to the theater and tried to watch it again. And then when it came out, I finally finished it without falling asleep.
Yeah. The Man of Steel is a whole different animal, I think. That was bad.
Batman versus Superman. I was able to stay awake through the whole thing. There were times where I was just like...
When we got through closer to the end, I started to stay awake a little more. But from what I'm seeing, what they're teasing us with, I'm hoping they're not just showing us all the good stuff and then it's all fluff in between. Like looking at the scene with the Joker, what they keep teasing with Jared Leto, I think this is where he's going to shine as the Joker in this particular cut.
He's going to be.
I don't like him as the Joker. He looks like he had potential, but I think for this particular
nobody came out of Suicide Squad well. I'm sorry.
I know that's the Suicide Squad Joker. I'm just,
I no, I'm wrong. There's only one person that came out of Suicide Squad squeaky clean, and that was Margot Robbie.
And then they screwed her up in Birds of Prey. They made.
I have not seen Birds of Prey.
Right. The dialogue screwed up Birds of Prey. That dialogue was god awful.
Everything with that. They had such a potential with all the characters they used in the movie. Montoya, Harley Quinn, everybody in that. And then it's like they started and then left it. And they just dropped it on all of them. It was actually, I can usually watch a movie and say, well, that was okay. Birds of Prey, I have to say, was the worst movie I have ever seen. And, and there's a lot.
I want to watch it. Now I'm not sure. Because I realized, I have that on Crave now. I can watch that.
Go ahead and watch it, Hollow Queen.
I will watch it.
The worst.
Let's be real.
it's watchable. It just depends on what your style of movie is. I know some people who love it, but
Really?
with me it was the dialogue. The dialogue killed it. The dialogue just was not there at all. And again, I'm hoping that and Snyder hasn't been the greatest with dialogue either. And when
He
he
throw a lot of action in there, but
he thinks he's good with dialogue because he tries to build his movie on dialogue, but it's like listening to a bedtime story. Everyone talks like this whenever Zack Snyder's doing dialogue. You're gonna be having a conversation like this with someone else, and it's just going to be having a conversation back and forth, you know. And it's just like,
Why did you say that name?
Martha?
I don't know. When I watched it, I just looked at it, and it just seems like it fell short on everything. It looks like they almost tried to break the fourth wall a few times in it, even, but it wasn't like Deadpool doing it when Ryan Reynolds did it. It was like they did a half-assed shot version of it, and it was just, I don't know, it fell real short to me.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to see in the Snyder Cut?
Who, me or Rob?
Either.
Well, let's start with you, Kerwin.
Me, I'm hoping to see what I think I'm going to see. I'm hoping to get a little bit more closure to the apocalyptic scenes from Batman vs Superman, where the Flash shows up and we get the whole desert Batman. I think we're gonna get a movie with two timelines in it. We're gonna get a movie with the Justice League current, and we're going to get some sort of futuristic apocalyptic type movie going with it that would have been setting up for a large finale as a sequel. But I think we're gonna get a lot more of the, a lot more of the post world that we saw in Batman vs Superman with the Flash, with the dream sequence.
Yeah.
I was hearing that was more going to be covered in the Flash movie that's coming out. That's why they have the different Flashes available. I'm thinking it's going to be more with the whole dark side. They're going to develop the characters a little more of the fight with Steppenwolf, a little more of that kind of closure with those scenes, because they cut everything. They had real short scenes with the Atlanteans, the Amazons, and they never showed Darkseid at all. They only rumored it here and there, and I'm just hoping to get a little more out of that.
I don't know if we're going to see much of Darkseid. Like, we're actually going to see him, but I'm hoping that they do more with Steppenwolf, because in the Whedon version, they basically just went, he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Because I know they develop his character a bit where it turns out that Steppenwolf is actually Darkseid's uncle, who paves the way for him to come into conquer the worlds.
It's 9 o'clock.
So it seems like they're developing the characters a little more in this. And with 2 extra hours, that's a whole nother movie to do a little more development, a little more action, something to where it's not, oh, look, here's the climax of the scene, cut it off, next scene,
And I'm right there with you. I think we're going to get more Darkseid, and I think we're going to get more Steppenwolf, but I think a lot of the scenes we're going to get from them are going to be somewhat of a possible future, like if we a future where they fail. I think we're going to get more of a dream sequence type thing, or a situation where it's a future where they fail situation. I think overall the story is going to end somewhat the way it did in the original cut. Not exactly like that, but honestly, he would have had to have shot a whole new movie to give us a whole new movie. And to be able to call it the Snyder Cut, utilize what was there, and add the other stuff in, it's going to have to play out a lot differently. And it's going to have to be something that we're not completely expecting, or else everybody's just going to go in and be like, yeah, it was the same movie with extra scenes. Who cares?
I'm hoping with this movie that we get to see the Justice League working together a lot better than we did in Joss Whedon's movie. Not necessarily right off the hop. It's okay to have some action scenes where you can see that there's discord and they're not working together. But by the end of the movie, by the last couple set pieces, we should see them as a team, not just I'm just going to wait until Superman comes in here and lays waste.
Yeah.
DC's worst, the worst thing they did for the Justice League movie was bring Whedon in. And you can tell where he came in. I'm sorry. You're watching a Snyder film for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're watching Avengers.
The two styles did not mesh well. And I say that being a Whedon fan.
I'm serious. You sit down and watch it. You're watching a little bit of Snyder, and then all of a sudden you're watching the Avengers. They're not all together yet. And then when they finally do get together, they're on a plane. And then there's remarks. Then when they actually work together to fight, it's at the final battle when aliens are coming in through a portal in the sky.
Yeah, go figure.
They're having to save people, doing their own little things. Like that's
I did like some of the humor in it in the original movie with when Batman was trying to like piss off Wonder Woman a little bit to get her to step up and take charge. And the Flash was like, if she kills you, we'll all cover for her. That kind of thing.
Superpower. I'm rich.
Batman hitting the police car and be like, yep, something's bleeding. That kind of thing. Some of it was pretty good there too, but
the number one thing I am hoping to see, in this is the absence of CGI Superman lip.
Okay, so Jen, to your question, there's really only two movies before Justice League. And that is Man of Steel and Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch those two in order to hype yourself up to watch Justice League.
They have Aquaman is in there too.
No. 4 movies before Justice League. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84. Man of Steel. Batman vs. Superman.
But you got Aquaman too before all that.
Aquaman is a sequel to Justice League. Aquaman is a sequel to Justice League.
There's an argument to watching Wonder Woman. Don't watch Wonder Woman 84. It sucks.
Yeah, I don't think Wonder Woman 84
You can go without watching Wonder Woman 84, but watching Wonder Woman before Justice League actually works out because you get more of her backstory, and the end credit scene helps set up a little bit for her working with Bruce and Justice.
The other one that you're looking for, Jen, is Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Dawn of Justice.
Which I wish they would add a little, tweak that a little bit. That one, that was,
that one needs a page 1 rewrite. That's not a tweakable movie.
Well, I was being hopeful, on that one.
Shoot it at orbit and nuke it until it glows.
Here's the problem with Batman vs Superman. It should have been Bizarro.
Yeah.
They didn't
do. Oh my God.
The problem with Batman v Superman is it shouldn't have had Batman in it.
Then it wouldn't have been Batman vs Superman.
Man of Steel. Before you kill off the Man of Steel, you need to actually make people like him.
Well, no,
everybody else. They tried to put Doomsday into something like that.
Yeah,
they messed it up bad.
And if you put Doomsday in, you have to kill Superman.
Yeah.
If you put Doomsday in a Superman movie, you have to kill Superman. That's the
main problem with Man of Steel. The main problem, or actually, it's a symptom, not the problem. But the problem that you have with Man of Steel is that, or not Man of Steel, Batman v Superman is Superman dies. No one cares. This is a problem.
Well, he wasn't a very. People are still on the fence with Henry Cavill as Superman. The Man of Steel movie was another origin story movie. Yeah, it was another origin story. They completely screwed it. No Fortress of Solitude. Oh, I found an ancient ship in the ice. Let's steal it and not tell anybody. Lois Lane kind of figured out where everything was going. It was just it was bad. It
And
was
the editor was on crack. I'm sorry. There's ways you can, like, there's been people who have recut that movie and it makes a whole lot more sense in fan edits.
I'm not a fan of Jimmy Kimmel, but I like Jimmy Kimmel's skit version better of the cocktail party, if you've seen that yet, than the actual
have to look
movie
that
itself. Yeah, if you Google that, Jimmy Kimmel on Batman v Superman, where they were at the cocktail party and Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent are talking, and Jimmy Kimmel keeps walking by, moving in, hey, you're Superman, and then it's hysterical. I don't want to give it away for you, but it's hysterical.
But and again, this is where I feel even the way it was, even with the editing, even with the things that, because those situations are a personal preference. There are people who like the editing. There are people who like that storytelling. I mean, that's how it is. Just like there are people who love soap operas. There are people who hate soap operas. People who love Star Wars, they hate Star Wars. There's different types of people. With me, it's where the story is and how the story could play out. And when you're adapting a Superman story to make a Batman versus Superman movie in the universe you've created with Man of Steel, if they would have done Bizarro instead of Doomsday, it would have been so much better. Because you've got Lex Luthor. You've got Luthor creating a creature in one way or another, because he brings out Doomsday. You got Luthor creating a creature to defeat Superman. And if there's Bizarro, and then you've got a Superman that isn't really, as well known as other Superman, as other characters have been, other iterations of that character have been, to also be bringing in Batman. At that point, he would need help, but there would also be, you could still have the rift. If it had just been Bizarro instead of Doomsday, and since it's not Doomsday, Superman doesn't die, it would have been a better film.
That's the major thing, is you can have Superman come into his own, but you can't kill him off before you see him. No.
And the fact that they used Zod's body to make Doomsday, that kind of tinkled on my Wheaties a little bit too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if Luthor would have used Zod's body and some DNA he got from Superman fighting Zod to create Bizarro.
Well, that kind of takes away from the Bizarro World timeline as well, though. But there was just, and you got two heroes ready to kill each other, and they bonded over their mother's name in those movies.
It's like,
Martha.
how did the people who make that not realize that was going to be a meme?
I don't know. The other thing about the Bizarro timeline, Rob, is there have been iterations where Bizarro was a clone and not.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Deborah, this is the DC universe. It's a complete, not Marvel, so it has nothing to do with WandaVision.
Well, I mean, I have 10 boxes of comic books in the basement that's got all of this nonsense in it. I got it all.
I've got a bunch over there somewhere.
There's such a rich
all covered up so sunlight doesn't get to them.
I'm just waiting to see how they're going to develop the characters a little better in this. They said they're rumored to have a Green Lantern character for a minute or two in this movie. The Flash, they're going to take this for his movie. Aquaman. I think there's a drinking game on how many times Jason Momoa can take his shirt off in this movie.
Oh, God, we're all going to be drunk. 4 hours of him taking his shirt off.
Yeah, right.
Again,
no, it's not on Disney Plus. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah, right. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it's on HBO Max, not Disney. So I guess they can have him take his shirt off as much as they want. Yeah.
Oh, you got HBO. You can have him take off his shirt as much as he wants.
Yeah, HBO Max is where we're going to see it. So
you can have him do so much more. Another situation with Snyder with it is, I don't know if you guys had read or not, but apparently in his version of what he wanted to do for a Justice League sequel, Lois Lane has Bruce's kid.
What?
No,
I don't know.
I've read that numerous places that in Snyder's sequel to Justice League, Bruce gets had gotten Lois pregnant before they brought Superman back.
That was a timeline. I've seen that in the comic book too. That it turns out when Superman comes back, the whole love triangle thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I'm not loving that.
no,
I'm sure there's a
really
way of
did.
making it work, but I'm not loving that on its face.
That's why part of me is hoping that this doesn't, feed more into the DC Justice League universe that we're getting with the Flash and stuff. Which we all know the Flash movie is going to reset it to where they can do whatever.
Yeah,
Yay, Flashpoint.
that's why they have all that stuff going in there.
It's going to reset it to do whatever they want, and it'll allow for some stuff because, like I said, I don't know what their plan is with Aquaman 2. And when you watch Aquaman, and same thing with Aquaman, this is one of the parts where Aquaman sort of failed on, is even like Robert's sitting there thinking Aquaman took place before Justice League.
I thought it did too.
The opening takes place before Justice League, but he gets the trident in Justice League, but has it in Aquaman. And when he meets Mara, what's her name?
Mara is
not Mara Jade.
Not Marge.
no, that's Star Wars. That's yeah, right.
Whatever her name is.
Mira? Is it Mira?
Mara.
Am I
Mira.
on?
When he meets Mira in Aquaman, that scene where, spoiler, the scene where she saves him and his
The
dad's
father.
life, the attack when they're in the car, they talk about meeting in Justice League.
Yeah, that's afterwards because he met her and got the armor at first from
Justice League when
Justice League. Yeah, yeah,
when he's fighting Steppenwolf.
right.
Continuity, continuity.
But that's why, like I said, Aquaman takes place after Justice League. Again, the little origin of him, watching him train with Willem Dafoe and stuff, that obviously takes place before Justice
Yeah,
League.
when he's a kid and all that.
But the main portion of the story, him legitimately becoming Aquaman, is after Justice League. So
Yeah, that's true. He didn't have any kind of suit or anything in Justice League until he got the armor from Mara.
right.
So okay, I can see that now.
And then he gets the actual Aquaman armor in Aquaman.
Yeah, King Atlan's armor and stuff. So
Yeah.
okay. I watched it a few times, but then I don't know. I just think there's a lot of things they could have did a little better with it. I actually like the CW's universe better.
I'm with you there.
Like Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman is still that was my high point right there.
And it's just not Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman. The fact they made the Donner universe
Right.
Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to get crazy, the Batman v Superman was already done by Jim Lee how many years ago in Batman Returns, the first time, part 1 and 2, where he fought Superman in the armor. And the only reason he had the armor was because he was already beat up from running around against the police and stuff back then. So, but that was the cartoon version of it.
All right. Multiple different versions of it. And I mean, going back to cartoon versions, so many aspects of the cartoons they could pull into it. The Adventures of Superman, the one that came out right after they brought out the animated Batman, the animated series.
Yeah.
That one even showed that part of why a lot of people didn't recognize Clark Kent as Superman was because when he was Superman, he modified his voice. Like he legitimately modified his vocals a little bit. It was a scene with him and Batman
in the Donner movies too. He's got a definitely different cast to his voice.
Christopher Reeves did that too. He's all klutzy and whiny, and not whiny, but like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And then he was
Clark Kent, but then he becomes Superman.
Yeah, they portrayed it a different way, but the cool thing I liked about it was a scene between him and Batman. He actually said that he modifies it so it sounds, it's not just like somebody trying to talk in a different octave. It's unrecognizable. Like then he turns around and imitates Bruce, and Bruce is like, "Don't do it. Don't ever do that again." But it legitimately, it's not really just like being like, oh, that's Clark Kent talking a different way. No, he can modify it to where it doesn't even sound like the same person.
There's a lot of different things they've come up with over the years to
Selena.
explain things.
Oh, I got Mom and Kalina in the.
There you go.
Got the family here.
Ginny. There's Ginny. There's a few people I didn't see, new people in there. But I mean, there's just a lot they can do. Like Brandon Routh to me was still the one that should have replaced Christopher Reeves.
Oh yeah,
They tried it. The problem is they put him in a shitty movie.
that was totally,
Superman Returns was the crappiest movie.
And directing and completely scripting and directing. And to be 100% honest, I'm not a fan of the Donner universe story.
After Superman 2, the rest of it I could do. I could care less what happened after Superman 2.
Superman 2 was the only one I could stomach. Like even
the first one.
That's the fun part about having this kind of layered is that every nerd has their own headcanon.
Definitely.
Like
that's why
I
we do
still
it.
avow that there is no second and third Matrix movies. They don't exist.
They do, and the fourth one's coming out this year.
Nope, don't exist.
Not for me.
Do it.
I still have not seen the third one. I don't care to.
I love all three of them. I had no problem. I honestly don't understand what people's problems with the second and third one are. Like, what were they?
It made me nauseous.
No, I can't do the Matrix. I just can't. After that, but yeah, I mean, everybody has their own opinion. Like for me, Christopher Reeves 1 and 2. If they would have did Superman Returns better, I think Brandon Routh would have gotten a lot more as Superman.
I liked some of the things they did in Superman Returns.
Some of it I liked, yeah.
My biggest problem.
Action-wise, it was a very boring movie.
My biggest problem with Donner vs. Superman. My biggest problem with Donner vs. Superman is I'm Superman. I will kiss you and you won't remember anything.
Well, yeah, they threw all the different power.
Donner had some pretty
I'm sorry.
Lame parts of it. The whole switching the world around backwards to rewind time was kind of lame too. But
I've actually, I was before we move away from flying around the earth backwards, I was right there with you. For so long, I'm like, really? He can turn back time by flying around the earth backwards? And then I was reading a feed where somebody goes, what if he wasn't turning back time by flying around? Like, what if he wasn't reversing time by reversing the Earth's rotation? What if that was a visualization of him breaking the time continuum to go back in time?
Like accessing the Speed Force and going back in time kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
That makes more sense.
In the 70s, it was a very simple explanation. He turned the world around and went back.
For the time period, for what it was fine. I mean...
That's like the Star Trek explanation.
We're breathing on a curve here.
Around the planet or around the sun, we can go back in time.
Well, according to Einstein, you can, but you know. But then as nerds evolved over time, you're going to get, well, let's try, and science has evolved with it, and a lot of it's like, okay, how about this for this? How about that for this? This is why he did this. And that's why we're all here. This is like, you know, what do you think?
Properties evolve.
Yep.
Movies evolve. I mean, back in 2000 when X-Men came out, they're like, oh, we can't put them in their costumes from the comic books. Are you nuts? Yeah. And then we watch Stephen Strange walk off the screen in his entire costume. Like, okay, I guess we can now.
Well, we can. The problem is people don't understand how to modify the costume to still be original and to look modern. They think when they think, oh, they're going to put this guy in a costume like his comic book counterpart, they think WandaVision Halloween episode.
Yeah.
They think,
and that was one thing. I remember when they first cast Elizabeth Olsen, they're like, okay, so in order to find out more information about this Scarlet Witch character, you're going to want to go take a look at this. Pay no attention to the costume. You're not going to look like that. And then they brought in the costume.
She fought
Yeah.
for the costume.
Vision.
Did she really?
She fought for the costume. I was reading article after article about how she fought and fought and fought to finally bring in the Wanda or the Scarlet Witch costume.
The problem with the costumes is if they're done wrong, they fall completely flat. Take a look at what happened with Psylocke. Poor Olivia Munn in that stupid bathing suit.
Oh, God. That's what I was waiting for in the Marvel universe because they have Aquaman in DC. I was wondering if they were going to try Prince Namor, Submariner, and to see if they were actually going to make him run around in a green Speedo for the whole movie.
Oh, I remember when
it's an earthquake
Endgame first came out, and there's an earthquake under the road, and everybody's going, "Oh, Namor!" I'm like, listen to what else they're saying. It's an earthquake. We don't do anything about that.
Oh my God.
It was an Namor reference though.
Oh yeah.
There's an earthquake in the ocean.
Yeah.
It was a Namor reference because Wakanda has an issue with Namor. They don't get along with.
I just love the way that they shut them down. It's like, oh, do we need to do something? It's an earthquake. Stand down.
I can't even imagine who they would get to be Namor. I mean, I think they did good with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and all that stuff. But I don't know. Back to DC.
Yeah, let's get back to DC.
I would take the CW
later, Jen.
Characters and stuff over what they have going now, except Affleck. We need a Batman. That's the only thing that's missing from the CW is a Batman, I think. Batwoman, I watched one new episode of season 2. Didn't get through the whole thing, shut it off. Couldn't do it.
I have fallen so far behind with the CW verse, and I was like right on top of it. We were watching it right as soon there, but for some reason I fell behind on it, and I haven't caught back up.
Same here. I didn't even finish season 1 of Batwoman.
Yeah, it was only season. I finished season 1. It wasn't bad, but the character was, close to the comic book. There was a lot to it that was right, and because she was a newer character, they can kind of do it the way they did it. It's more modern of a character. It's when they start trying to change all the other characters to fit these new things, and then that's what's yanking on me a little bit.
Well, for the longest time, Green Arrow was your discount. It was your discount Batman, but he's gone now.
Here's what I wish we could see in comics, and I know so many people disagree with me. I know many people that I know that don't agree with me on it. I wish comics were more of a real-time story. And what I mean by that is I wish the characters would evolve more in a real-time world instead of a Simpsons world. And what I mean by that is you've got the Simpsons that's been going on for 30
years
plus years.
And Maggie's still a baby.
Haven't aged.
Yeah.
And
that's the longest babyhood ever. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the episodes, they do have continuations where Superman is older, but he doesn't age the way we do. But they have Batman, like they've gone through to Batman Beyond, where Bruce Wayne is old and it's Terry McGinnis now.
Yeah, but with me on that is it's a jump type thing. I would like as the generations change, as they get to a point where it's like, oh well, instead of let's make Batman a completely different version of Bruce Wayne, or instead of resetting the timeline or doing another Flashpoint or Crisis type thing, just go, the dude's getting old, bringing in a new Batman, a new person for Batman. And then when they make movies off of it, they can pick and choose. Because see, one of the problems we run into, I know I run into it with my age in Marvel, is they're bringing out these movies and they're basing them on comics that are out now, but trying to merge them with stories that were out when I was a kid.
Or longer ago.
And that's where I get lost. Because I'm like, okay, I get this, but this is up. No, that's how it is in the comic. And I'm like, show me. And then they pull out this $5 comic book, and I'm like, $5 for a comic book? No wonder I haven't bought comics in a while. That's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
They go from $2.99 to $5 or $6.99. Then you have your foil covers, your variant covers, your this cover, that cover.
It gets expensive.
Ridiculous.
It's really damn bad.
I know that's why I hadn't bought comics, but
Yeah, that's why I haven't either.
they turn around, and that's where
I still do.
that's where the problem. Well, I've got some newer ones. I mainly look for older ones. Yeah, I hit up the 50-cent comic bins. That's what I do.
Yeah.
We were trying to keep track of it, but the thing is, the second you get comfortable with something, then that storyline ends and they reset it again. It's like, and I just spent all this money on all these comics.
Like, here's an example, right? With Marvel. Marvel did the whole Marvel 2 back in the 90s where they brought out Spider-Girl, where it was Peter Parker's daughter.
Yeah.
I loved that run. It was weird, but I loved it because it was a continuation of the characters. It wasn't another reset. It was okay. This guy's been around for a while. He's not going to constantly do it. And, it was one of those things to where it's like comics have a habit of also bringing in the current issues, the current situation, current politics and everything into it. And then so we get politics and issues again with it's just like The Simpsons, where you'll get something that happened in the 70s that was a huge, political movement or whatever, and then that same character 5 years down the road is stuff going on in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
I watched the Batman Returns, the Jim Lee version they had out, the 2 parts. And Reagan is the president. It still has Ronald Reagan and us fighting with Russia. So, I mean, they're very dated, but I mean, you do kind of get a little bit of advancement with like Dick Grayson turns into Nightwing and all the different Robins. But technically, Bruce Wayne should be farting along at 100 years old like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy,
Exactly.
Like, if you were to do that, that's the problem is Batman would be dead. Bruce Wayne would be dead.
The
Batman may have continued on.
The beauty about it is Bruce Wayne could be dead.
Yeah.
Those characters can exist and still, you can still have your hero. And then if they make a movie based on Batman, and Green Lantern's a prime example. We can have 5 different Green Lantern characters.
Mm-hmm.
As it evolves through, it's still a popular character. And they can pick and choose on which one they're going to do. But with Batman and Superman and them, no, it has to be them. It has, I feel sorry for Superboy. Because at this rate, he's never going to not be a boy.
Yeah.
He will never get to graduate and be Superman. He will always be Superboy.
But that's the thing is when you're dealing with characters that are this iconic. I mean, there is no such thing as you want to deal with those characters, and it's really hard to retire characters that you really, really like, even though it means that you get to evolve and bring in new characters and see the storyline go on. I understand why these things get rebooted. Oh, yeah. It's that much fun. But yeah, I'm with you.
I understand why they do it. I wish they would understand that it would work out better for them if they didn't.
Bruce Wayne should be dead. And somebody else taking over the Batman. I mean, the Batman can be a title.
I was hoping, I was honestly hoping they were going to, and Azrael took over as Batman for a little bit. And I wasn't a fan of Azrael. He was not a good fit. But that's the beauty of that situation is if you're reading, Detective Comics was about Bruce Wayne. Detective Comics was not about Batman.
Mm-hmm.
It was about Bruce. Batman was about Batman. So it no longer needs to be Bruce. It just is Batman. You could have come out with a comic in the 70s, a Robin title in the 70s, and it was Dick Grayson. You bring out a Robin title today, it's whatever orphan kid Batman decided to bring out,
And you can have different characters take on different parts of the roles. Like, yes, Bruce Wayne as Batman was the detective and was the superhero. You could have a son of Batman who becomes Batman, who takes on the superhero role, and then have a protege that Bruce has handpicked who takes up the detective role, and the two of them work together. And yeah,
it was
doing it.
And that's where I see it is that's I wish they would go that route, because it would also allow them to be more involved. I mean, comics have always touched on, it's always been a way to bring the outside world into people who don't always have the avenue to get the outside world. At least that's what it was for me. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was out on a field trip and was like, my mom was like, "Oh, go ahead and pick out your souvenir." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll take this issue of Spider-Man. First comic I picked up. I liked the way the cover looked." And was like, "This is what I want." She's like, "Sure." And I bought it. And ever since then, that was my connection. I mean, I would read that and learn from it and see how the interactions were in it, the issues they would be going through. And then I'd start seeing it in real life.
Yeah.
Is Robert coming back? Oh, the computer locked up.
He's got technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. But I mean, since and for the time frame that comics were out from the, I'll start off at the 40s. I won't go earlier than the 40s because comics existed, but they didn't really hit big.
Yeah.
But 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way even up to the 90s, that time, even if resetting it worked then.
Mm-hmm.
It worked because you were still within that generation. But we're getting close to hitting 100-year comics. 100-year-old characters. And we're at that point as well. Film, Superman came out when Donner's Superman came out in the 70s. We had a Superman TV show.
Robert's backstage.
No, he's not. I don't see anybody backstage.
That's what Valerie just said.
Might be backstage of a different one. Let me see about sending it to him again.
Kids do need someone to look up to. And that's one thing with these characters. Some of these characters are so tied to their era.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got Captain America. You want him fighting Nazis. Or at least that's how you want to start him off. I like the Man at a Time thing they did with him.
Mm-hmm.
But there are characters that when you pull them out of their own time period, they don't work anymore.
Oh, they don't. And especially in the culture we live in now where it's nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Can you guys hear me again?
We can hear you. See ya.
Hold on. Wait a minute. What do we do?
You also need a YouTube stream.
Hold on. Camera. Wait a minute. There we are.
All right. Mute
My computer. Say what?
Mute your YouTube stream.
I did. I don't even have YouTube going. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. How's that?
Well. No, we're still.
What now?
It's still echoing.
There we go.
No.
Hold on. Oh, I see. Hold on. This.
It's okay, guys. This happens sometimes.
Try that now. Try that. Is that better?
Well,
no.
It's still echoes.
I'm on my phone. I'm not even anywhere near anything else.
Weird.
Huh.
Could be the way your phone.
Let me see if I can turn it down. If I turn something else down.
Do you have headphones plugged into your phone?
I do. Let's see.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, we're going to go ahead and continue this. I'll put him back in when he's back up and going. Like Robert mentioned, Batman Beyond.
Yes.
What, is awesome. They went the way, but it's a Harley Quinn situation that started as the cartoon.
Mhm.
Oh, I think let's check. All right,
you
you
hear-
there?
Can you hear that now better?
I
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
All right.
There we
So,
go.
What we were talking about was, I think there's still a little bit of an echo, but it's
It's better, but
Oh boy.
yeah. Volume mine down a little bit. Okay. I was talking about how I think they should.
Mom says to give these to you.
I think they should allow the characters to age out.
Yeah.
Stick with current events for the time, and that allows for better characters, especially for film world where they're doing adaptation. It gives them the ability to reboot these characters. You come out with a Batman movie about Bruce Wayne, and then say, hold on, and then say that they get around and go. They make these Batman movies with Bruce Wayne, and they go, okay, we want to reboot. They're not making as much money anymore. We want to reboot. Well, who was the next Batman? Make that movie, and continue that. It doesn't have to be the same Bruce Wayne in his 20s time and time again.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna try and switch these to. Trying to switch to a different set of headphones. Hold on.
What's the wow for?
Can you hear me better on this?
Yeah, let me see if I can hear myself.
yep.
Yeah, there's still echo.
Is there still? Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know. That's all I got.
I think we'll survive.
Okay.
All right, Harlequin, what were your thoughts?
I like the idea of having a generational thing going on with the characters. There's definitely ways to do that, but the problem is you're always going to want to go back. People always want to go back to the originals. So,
and they do, and that's where you can have the alternates. Like a prime example of that would be Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm.
Batman. What were the two? Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns. You can have those. You can still bring in writers. You can still bring in creators that you go to those original characters and do their own little versions of them.
you can also
still have them.
You can
And they
also
don't
do period things too, right? I mean, you can also go and have different time periods. Like I was talking about pulling some characters out, they don't work necessarily that well. I know there was a lot of people when Ant-Man came out, and people were pissed off that they weren't going to see a Hank Pym Ant-Man. It's like, well, you could, if you really wanted to, you could go and do a period piece that is the Hank Pym Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But that still leaves you with another Ant-Man in this time period.
Exactly.
I mean, I could see doing the whole generational thing like that, and then they do have the comics where it is like an older Batman or an older Superman or a younger Year One. But as long as you still have the originals somewhere, I mean, and you can pretty much go along with whatever you want to do. I mean, you got Damian Wayne Robin, you have, you even have the universe where it's Batman and Catwoman, and they have Huntress. So there's just whatever you want to go with.
There's lots of fun things you can do.
Oh yeah.
Rehashing the same thing.
And that's where I think they're running into with hitting, 70 years of one character. It starts feeling like a rehash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can only go through so much.
I mean, they have the same character, and it might be a rehash, but you figure he was fighting Nazis in the 30s and 40s, And then, he went through Vietnam and then through the 60s and 70s when Batman was referring to Superman with his long hair. It's like, you're not going hippie on me, and things like that. And you can definitely tell what generation they're in when they're doing it. They're very dated to start with.
Had extreme futuristic tech of a TV that allowed him to see who he was talking to and be connected to his office. And in 10 years, that's old tech.
Yeah.
in 10 years of his time. It was obviously like 40, 50 years of our time, but in 10 years of Batman time, it's really dated tech. And it's like, that's, the evolution of the vehicles. That's where I feel their flaw is by trying to have these characters paused in time as they bring them out.
I think with the comic books, you can get away with it a little better. But even with the movies, like look at Star Trek. Everybody complained, that doesn't look like the Enterprise. That doesn't look like it. Even on Discovery Season 2 when they updated it. You got to realize the 60s futuristic in 66 for the original series, the flip analog dials and the little turning knobs and all that. You kids look at that today, they're going to be like, are you kidding me? So they have to update it. I mean, I like the way they did it on Discovery Season 2. I love that version of the Enterprise. Pike's Enterprise.
Yeah.
That was, you couldn't get any more, you could not appease a purist any more than you did with that. With me. When he walked in and you saw the orange rails and all that stuff like that, but still updated and futuristic, that I liked. I mean, but even that, I still realize, you have to update from, the 60s to, like, look at the Batcave for Adam West. You know what I mean? Bat reactor.
In here. Uh-huh.
Yeah. The Bat computer that's still spitting out binary chip cards. You know what I mean? Like the little oak tag cards with dots in them and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, any movie you're going to have to do that. Yes, but I think there's got to be a way to do it that it still jibes the whole season you're in or whatever you're in. If I explain that right. Okay.
That's exactly what it is. And it's one of those situations where as long as it we'll use Donner Superman. The Donnerverse.
Yeah.
To go back and watch Superman and Superman 2, and if you're not Hollow Queen, Superman 3 and Superman 4.
Or me, I didn't like 3 or 4 either, so.
Well, you may not have liked them, but you didn't say they don't exist.
Close.
And then watch Superman Returns.
Yeah.
And they go from driving 1970s and 80s vehicles to vehicles in 2010. They go from using pay phones to smartphones in their pockets.
Yeah.
In a matter of what's only supposed to be a couple years, maybe like 5 years.
There's even mechanisms, if you're talking about the Donner universe, right in the first movie. That Smallville that you go back to in the first movie, that's not 1960s Smallville. That's right out of Norman Rockwell, 1930s, the original Star Trek. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Smallville. Smallville.
Yeah.
Like that is like his parents' childhood. That's not his childhood. It's like that's total anachronism here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went real far back for that scene, for those scenes. But even in Superman Returns, they just erased 3 and 4.
Yeah.
He even said it was 5 years after, what happened in Superman 2.
People who think like I do.
Yeah, there's a few of us that Richard Pryor is the villain in 3, and then come on, I just couldn't do it.
I love the movie with Richard Pryor in it. Don't get me wrong, but it's silly to the nth degree.
And actually, there is a Superman 5. So there was a Superman 5. That took place a lot in Smallville with Lana Lang and all them. So you have to watch that in the Donnerverse too. Christopher Reeves did a 5.
Quest for Peace?
Huh?
You talking about Quest for Peace?
No, there's one after that.
There is
4
one?
is Four is Quest for Peace. I forget what number 5 is called, but there was a number 5.
I don't recall there being
It-
number 5.
I just thought it should have been called Superman 5. Let's try for more money. Yeah, that's about all that was.
Request for more money.
Yeah.
I gotta find this out.
Yeah.
Who starred in it? Do you remember?
It was Christopher Reeves.
Well, it's once you get into the sequels, you can get some pretty interesting things. I mean, let's take a look at the Batman there too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Batman and Batman Returns. Those are pretty good. You start letting Schumacher in there. It's like, oh, really?
Schumacher's Batman should have just been called Batman 3: Death of a Franchise. Is all that should have been called.
Like I have, like Richard Pryor, I have a fond place in my heart for Batman Forever, but Batman and Robin, whoa.
The only reason I think I can tolerate Batman Forever a little bit is because of Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Chris O'Donnell was all right as Robin. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry, I was a teenage girl when that movie came out. Chris O'Donnell, thank you.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah. Little Mr. Blue-Eyed D'Artagnan. Okay, yeah, he was.
Those eyes.
Yeah, I can see that. But the fourth one, I mean, come on, with George Clooney, everything with his little.
What, all of 16 or so when that came out, and going, I could write a better movie.
I mean, you could tell it was George Clooney. It was Doug Ross from ER because he's like, high freeze and shaking his little head around and doing his little signature moves.
I've never liked George Clooney, so when they said he's going to be Batman, I'm like, no.
The only reason he was Batman is because he was flavor of the month at the time.
Well, absolutely he was.
Now, Robert, you're going to have to do some research to find that movie because I just checked IMDb and Superman 4 Quest for Peace is the last time Christopher Reeves played Clark Kent.
Yeah, I'll find it because I know it's there because he was in Smallville for part of the movie. I don't know if it was a direct-to-video movie back then, but
Quest for Peace, he was in Smallville for part of the movie because that was when he was befriending Lana Lang's kid, and the kid was all talking about wanting to. They wrote letters to try to get rid of all the nuclear weapons, and
if you can fix it, I don't know how to happen. Oh, my daughter's trying to because my computer just crapped out, but I'll have to double check again because I remember them saying 5 was just so bad that it was just not even existent. So
a lot of people say that about 4.
Yeah. When they always do the episode where they
There's a trilogy curse. The third and fourth and third installment tends to just go.
Yeah. When they try doing too much, it's like the movie gets popular, and then they do it again, and then all of a sudden, let's see if we can pump as many of these out as we can while people still like it, and it's just bad.
Yeah.
They try to redo
right,
and continue.
Landing the third part of a trilogy is not an easy thing to do.
No, not at all. That's why I'm kind of with Spider-Man. I'm waiting to see what this one's going to be because I think they're trying to put out too many too quick.
Marvel's look at Marvel trilogies haven't done that bad. I'm not talking overall past Marvel movies that are Marvel characters. I'm talking MCU.
The
right.
MCU trilogies tend to be all right. If any of them suffer, it tends to be the second one. If you're talking Thor, the Dark World, Iron Man 2, those ones were like, they're about as bad as Marvel movies get.
I liked Iron Man 2. I didn't like the third one. I didn't like Thor Dark World or whatever the second one was.
Yeah.
I thought that sucked. Completely sucked.
It needed a lot of work. But Thor Ragnarok, American Civil War.
I still think Ragnarok is my favorite Marvel MCU movie.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude, I loved Ragnarok.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I liked what they did with it. I'm glad they took it in a different direction because the whole dour Shakespearean thing obviously wasn't working. They had to do something different.
Okay.
I loved
I'm
Ragnarok.
glad they took a chance with it because, I mean, Chris Hemsworth has wicked comic timing. That's something you could absolutely do with him.
And the only thing I didn't like about Iron Man 3 was how they treated the Mandarin.
The Mandarin.
But it's already been decided that that wasn't the Mandarin.
I actually kind of liked what they did there. I thought that was rather clever.
Yeah, it was a guy like he was using the Mandarin's name.
Yeah.
And they're actually going to bring us the Mandarin eventually.
He was scaring the crap out of you, making you think it was the Mandarin. And it turns out it's like, no, actually he's not. That's not him. This is a complete fake out. Gotcha.
Yeah, and the whole and on top, it's a fake out on top of a fake out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would love to have seen Ben Kingsley play the Mandarin, though. That would have been awesome to actually see him play the Mandarin. But
I love Ben Kingsley. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And you got the comic side of him too in that.
And that's where I say the MCU has actually done pretty well with the third installments.
Yeah.
But see, when they do their third installments, like second and third, there's movies and time in between each one.
Yeah.
Like Captain America, the First Avenger, and then they did the next one after like a few movies and a little time went by.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they just thought, holy crap, we're doing good, let's put another one out right now. You know, they kind of threw them into each different story.
With Spider-Man, it's not going, holy crap, he's doing good, let's put another one out right now. It's, holy crap, we're on a time crunch with a contract. Let's make sure we're putting out movies to keep up with our contract.
Yeah, but see, that's where I think they're going to mess up a little bit when they're trying to put them out that fast. I mean, I'm sure.
Honestly, that's why the DCEU has fallen on its face. It's like, oh, we got to catch up.
Yeah. I noticed that with the Christian Bale Batmans. They're like, it was already planned as a trilogy to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they just tried to redo old things over and over again. And the last one with Bane and all that.
The major problem with
Whoa.
the Nolan verse was
Sorry.
Actor non-existence. They had planned on having the Joker come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And when Heath Ledger passed, that just torpedoed their whole idea. It's like, well, we got to do something. Now what?
Yeah.
Well, Warner Brothers did that one dirty. So what happened was Joker, Heath Ledger passed and Nolan was done. He wasn't going to make the third installment. And Warner Brothers said, come back, make the third installment, or we're going to make it instead. And we're going to do it how we want. And Nolan looks back and goes,
that's where you run into problems.
All right, I'll do one more.
Yeah.
And that's why he ended it the way he ended it. Because he goes, I'll do one more, and then you're going to be my Nolan verse Batman's going to be done.
Yeah.
And a lot of the thing that happens with the same Sam Raimi Spider-Man was Sam Raimi had a very good idea what he wanted to do with Spider-Man 3, and he went, no, we need this and this and this and this, and he went,
Nah.
Oh, you're gonna make me make this anyway?
Yeah. It's got to be bigger. It's got to be better. It's got to be flashier. Spend more money, and then, but that's just because it's bigger and flashier doesn't mean the story's going to be good.
The fans want Venom. It has to be Venom. And Raimi obviously wanted to focus on Sandman. Raimi obviously wanted to focus on Sandman in that movie.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was
had to be Venom. And if it would have just been Venom's origin and still focused on Sandman and Harry Osborn Goblin,
yeah, the
it would
Hobgoblin.
have been a much better movie. Because honestly, the first two acts of that movie, I really, really enjoyed. It was the climax. The climax fell right on its face.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many people calling the shots.
Yeah. It was like, and I geeked out when Peter's in his black suit on the church, sitting there. I'm like, that is, I'm like, that is straight up McFarlane's drawing in the comic book.
Yeah.
Black suit Spider-Man. I'm like, that is amazing. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it just starts to trip up. And guess the best iteration I saw of it was How It Should Have Ended, and it's got like I can't even think of how Harry's Goblin was in the movie because all I can think about is how they animate him going, "I'm coming, Peter. I'm coming to help you, Peter. I'm coming." And he trips up, and one of the pumpkin bombs goes and lands and blows up Venom and stuff. And Peter's like, "See, I told you I'd win. I'm the hero."
Like if they let him do his and then go ahead and do another one with Venom after he finished that and not try to cram Venom into that movie.
Spider-Man.
For another thing, we would have got another Spider-Man movie with Sam Raimi. That awesome. But
and I liked oh my God, what the hell's his name? Spider-Man in that movie.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire. I liked Tobey Maguire. He wasn't the high school Spider-Man anymore. It was a little older Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, he was out working, college, all that stuff.
My favorite version of
and
Spider-Man.
he was still a sad whoopee boy.
Yeah, right.
20-something-year-old Spider-Man was always my favorite Spider-Man. I was never a fan. Like I said, I bought the Spider-Man comic I bought was in the 80s, and it was right when he just started going to college or whatever.
Okay.
That was the Peter Parker I was introduced to. I went back and tried to read some of the Spider-Man as a teenager, you know, the older ones. I couldn't do it. I felt like I was reading some high school drama.
Yeah, it was very, very 50s, late 50s, early 60s. Gosh, gee willikers there, Betty, you know, and stuff like that. And it was bad.
Looks like Archie found a spider suit.
Yeah, there you go.
He can help him out, you know.
Gee, Wally, where's the beef? You know, it's like, you know, where's Peter?
I'm quite happy to see the fact that with the new MCU Spider-Man, they have him as a teenager. But I'm hoping that even though this John Hughes vibe that they have going for him works, especially when you put it in the context of the others, that they let him evolve, that they let him grow up. They let him get past John Hughes and get into college and let him do all that stuff. That's what I'm hoping.
That is the best explanation I have heard for that yet. The John Hughes phase of Spider-Man. That's the best.
And like I said, I enjoy the Spider-Man movies that are out now. I love John Hughes movies because I watched them when I was younger and loved them. But I'm not a high school teen movie fan. I'm not. Like, if a movie's based on kids in high school, I am bored out of my mind.
But the cool thing is you can have him in high school for those people who that's their favorite version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they do let him get past the John Hughes high school stuff and get into college and continue to evolve. Marry, have a kid, have fun.
Have Spider-Girl, you know, but at least with this character and this actor, they have a lot more opportunities to keep going with it, you know, and a lot more time with him.
It's like, he's perfect. He looks like he's 12. I will all kinds of movies out of him.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think the MCU, I'm not as much of a purist as Rob is on stuff, but I think the MCU Spider-Man, just the MCU overall, will lose me if they do one mistake. And that mistake is if, when they bring in the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm is not Peter Parker's age.
I can see that.
If they bring it in and there's way too, if they bring it, if they never mesh up, if we have an MCU and Johnny Storm and the Human Torch and Spider-Man never team up, it's not an MCU.
And Johnny Storm always comes off as a fuck up anyway. So if you have him as a young fuck up, you can forgive him.
Well, he has to be. If he was older than Peter, he was only a year older than Peter. They never stated exactly how old Johnny was, but he was within a year of Peter Parker's age.
Peter Parker. Yeah, see, the movies we have so far, he's like this older test pilot and all that stuff. He's just an older guy. And I just don't think they haven't done a good Fantastic Four movie yet.
No,
I don't think.
Not even close. The Chris Evans version of Johnny Storm was smarmy and awful. And it's like, yeah, he's not you can't like this guy. You want to punch this guy in the face. But if he's 17 and is smarmy and awful as 17, you can forgive him because eventually he's going to grow out of that.
Yeah. I mean, the only character I really liked in the Fantastic Four movies was Doctor Doom, the guy that they got to play Doctor Doom.
I love
Oh,
that.
you guys
actor.
from Charmed?
Right now.
Yeah, he plays a villain so well.
Oh,
You love to hate the guy. It's great.
he was in Charmed and he was fantastic
Yeah.
villain in there too. So as soon as I saw he was cast for Doctor Doom, I was like, yes,
And I'm sorry, Robert. Michael Chiklis' The Thing was pretty good too.
that was good too.
I like that too. Yeah, he had
Costuming
down for him.
You know, but with what they had, but Michael Chiklis' Thing, I wasn't expecting that from him.
That's
Yeah.
why these movies are so hard to say, oh, they're garbage. Because there's something
Yes.
in them that you're like, oh, if you could only just crystallize that and put it in a better movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I watch movies. Like I can sit down, I can sit down and watch Affleck's Daredevil and be like, yeah, I enjoy it. I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
I
liked it.
If they would just replace who Jennifer Gardner is and change her story, fine. But you know,
I actually liked Jessica Alba as Sue Storm. I liked her.
I think the casting of
Alright in the first one. The second one, I was like, yeah, you can tell she's bored of this role.
the casting wasn't bad.
No.
Jessica Alba just gets bored with I don't think she's the greatest actress.
She's not.
And she's tried to do so many comic book style movies and TV series, and it's just like, don't.
I used to like Dark Angel when she did that show. Was that what it was? Dark Angel?
Dark Angel.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked that show back in the day.
Yeah.
It didn't run too long. It ran just long enough.
If it would have ran a little longer, you would have
if
seen
it would have ran a little
out.
longer, it would have been worse. But, you know.
Even in
Yeah.
Sin City, I mean, as much as you love watching her in Sin City, you're just like,
Okay, we're doing this again? Yeah. It's like we're doing this again? Okay, good.
She gets bored. There becomes a vacancy behind the eyes, and you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember how the TVs used to be back in the day when they would go all fuzzy? That little that's the look she's got in her face.
I lost interest in this about 25 minutes ago, but I still need a paycheck.
Yep. You can just look at her face and just see that in her eyes, and that's it, you know?
When she's on, she's great, but yeah.
Yeah. Like the Machete movies that they did that she was in. I liked parts of the movie. I thought they were funny. It was very like a campy, you know, almost like an old movie like that, but you could see the overacting involved in that, and I don't know if that was on purpose to do that. But
they were the old the Machete movies. You gotta keep in mind where Machete came from. Machete
Right.
was not a movie. Machete was a preview to a movie.
Yep.
In the Grindhouse when Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did their two Grindhouse movies.
Yeah.
Machete was a preview to it, and everybody asked for it. They wanted it. So Robert Rodriguez turned around and made Machete. Well, he had become friends with Jessica Alba while working with her on Sin City and Sin City 2. And that's how he pulled her in those movies. And it's funny. One of my favorite Robert Rodriguez stories I've read was when he was doing Predator.
I love Predator. I love them all.
When he was writing the script for Predator and they were looking at casting it. And he legitimately wrote down for that character a Danny Trejo type. And it got out. He was saying that he wanted Danny Trejo type to play the character. Trejo calls him up and goes, dude, what the hell? I am Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
So then he plays that character. And another funny nerd fact is every Robert Rodriguez movie that Danny Trejo is in, even the Spy Kids movies, his name is the name of a knife or a blade.
How did we get to Machete?
I think we were talking about how
Fantastic Four, Jessica Alba.
Yeah, well, Jessica Alba in those movies. Yeah, that's what I like about being a nerd, man. You can go from one extreme to the other just like that, man.
Yeah, it's just the nerd stuff. I mean, we only Predator. There's Predator comics. There's Alien.
Yeah, there are.
So
There absolutely are.
all the three movies we mentioned are comic book movies, except for Machete. But
And well, if you really want to get into like bad version, we're still talking about bad Jessica Alba. The only bad Predator movies were, I think, Alien versus Predator.
Oh,
I
you
really
didn't
did.
like that?
Alien.
The first one was okay.
Yeah,
It was tolerable.
The
The
second
second one just
Sleigh
completely.
ride of friendship.
the first
What?
The sleigh ride of friendship.
Alien versus Predator is actually Alien versus Predator Forever, or Alien versus Predator and Robin.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work.
That's like even the hallway scene where they're running together.
Oh,
Yeah.
Robin again, which is so bad because again, movies falling flat on their face. The first two acts of AVP play a lot like Alien did.
Yeah.
It played a lot like Alien did. It played a lot like Prometheus did when
Oh,
he
don't
came
even
back,
go.
made Prometheus. But once they started doing the whole team up thing with it, it just started falling flat on its face. And it's like you've got the material, you've got video games, you've got books, you've got comic books. The lore is there.
Every time they try to do a cross team up, like a cross genre team up, I just cringe every time I hear it. It's almost as bad as hearing the words Freddy versus Jason to me. And I can't do it.
you broke Kerwin.
I know.
You didn't break me. You didn't break me. Actually, as not
hated
on
it.
point as the movie was, as much as the movie missed the point, the way they wrote in Jason's character to that was pretty genius. When
It was okay.
Freddy, who was a nightmare character, so how are you going to have Jason, this character that in his universe is a real life character? How are you going to have him actually fight a nightmare character? To actually have Freddy take and pull the character into the nightmare to be sort of his minion, and the character be like, "Nah, not going to work, buddy." I thought the movie could have been a lot better, but it's still not as bad as Jason X.
Oh God, that you broke. I'm done. Yeah.
Even great movies fall on their face in the third act. I mean, going back to the DCEU, I love Wonder Woman. But the minute we went from you can't just kill off Ares and expect this to end. This is evil that lives in people, and then go, oh wait, no, here's Ares. You can go kill him now. It's like, really? You set up this point and then go.
Yeah. A lot of it, like when you said Jason X, oh my God. That wasn't even a scary movie. I literally felt that was a comedy. It
was like they walked up to the guy and said, okay, what was your favorite horror movie? Critters 3. You're hired. Get over here.
Oh, God.
That's what literally.
When he was killing the two characters on the holodeck thing, the hologram characters, when they look at him, when they're trying to distract him, and the two hologirls are like, let's have premarital sex and smoke marijuana. And then he's just like, okay. And then the next scene is him beating them inside a sleeping bag against a tree. I mean, come on.
It's like,
I just died. I couldn't do it.
There's a reason why the Scream franchise exists, and you just said it right there. You need your horror movie characters to be genre savvy.
I thought Jason Takes Manhattan was bad enough, and then they've got all the way to Jason X, and just went from there downhill.
Yeah.
Speaking of directors, what's your favorite comic book? Watchmen. Okay, can you?
What? Yeah. I'm sorry. What?
Zack Snyder being the head of the DCEU, the man is a visionary. He's a great action director, but when he didn't enjoy comics until Watchmen came out, and you want him to take your two Golden Age characters that have been around forever and have them no, this is a good idea. He was great at Watchmen. I loved his Watchmen. It worked out great, but no, somebody else, please. No.
I'm hoping.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Please, one of you help me understand this.
Uh-oh.
Please help me understand this.
All right.
Who in Hollywood said, let's make a comic book movie? Give me some ideas, guys. You know what? We should do Frank Miller's Watchmen. Cool, let me read it. Dude, Frank Miller did this? Okay. Who can we have make this movie? Frank Miller makes movies. No. We don't need him to make this. We need someone else to make this movie. Why? Frank Miller makes. Why not allow Frank Miller to make his movie?
You have a point, but I will pretend that Snyder did a good job with Watchmen.
He did an okay job. There were some things I wasn't. I'm sorry, I wasn't a fan of his Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan's a hard character to get right.
It is a hard character to get it right, but you know who could have got it right? Frank Miller.
Frank Miller,
the guy that wrote the comic book. Yeah, I think.
I'm not going to argue with you because you're not wrong.
you know who said that? Let's see who we can get to make the movie. Some Harvard graduate, then in the executive who's never read a comic book, doesn't even. If you said Superman to him, he'd be like, "What?" You know. Let's try this, but let's not get any of the original people that were involved in it. Let's just make it completely different. Then what is it you liked about it? Well, the original book. You know, that's what.
You know what it'd be like? It'd be like finally getting the rights to Star Wars, talking the guy who made Star Wars into making a sequel trilogy to it, and then pissing him off enough to where he walks away.
Go figure.
That's what it would be like.
Oh my God, a raging case of deja vu. I'm just hoping all in all, that Zack Snyder kind of struck a little bit of gold with the Justice League, his cut. I really want it to be good. Honest to God. I'm more of a DC person than Marvel. I like them both, but like Star Trek and Star Wars, and I lean towards Star Trek a little more. I'm trying. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping he struck gold with it. You know what I mean?
I'm going in with managed expectations. I'm not expecting good. I'm expecting better.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That's where I have to be because
I'm not even expecting better. I'm expecting different. Different. I don't care if it's worse.
Next week we're going to have to come back.
Yeah, next week after we all see it, we'll all have to come back next week, and either we're going to have a real angry look on our faces, or we're going to like it. Like when Big Bang Theory, when they all saw the new Star Wars movie, and they were all sitting in the movie theater chairs, looking like, oh, wow, that was, and they loved it and all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm hoping for great. I'm kind of going in with great. I know I'm going in with really high expectations, and I don't want to fall that far, but I'm hoping
better, different.
Yeah,
a better Bruce.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
I want a better written Bruce. I'm not a fan of making Bruce Wayne.
I want a better written everybody. If we have 4 hours, we have enough time to flesh out our characters and really dive in.
That's what I'm hoping about. You got 4 hours. You can do a lot more character development with the characters developing the story a little better.
Unless Zack Snyder got his inspiration from watching the extended cut of The Lord of the Rings.
Oh God! Don't do this to me. I'm having Jar Jar Binks flashbacks. I'm having Jar Jar Binks flashbacks. Don't do this to me.
4 hours could be a lot more character development or a lot more walking.
My whole thing with Lord of the Rings, the giant eagles saved him from the tower. Why couldn't they just fly the shit to the volcano themselves and drop it in? Yes.
Did you read the books?
Yes. All
even
of them.
Silmarillion.
Okay, now we are really running.
You know that the Eagles weren't going to do that.
Genres.
I know.
It wasn't a matter of why didn't they? They were not going to go around there. They were not. The Eagles were a sentient being. They were. It was no.
There's also the point of the Eagles weren't going to go in there because they would be a giant fucking target.
Yeah, well,
true. Eagles are coming, zap.
I know. It just there were so many just plot holes the way they did it. They didn't do it like the books as well.
The
There was a
Eagles
big
helped
difference.
Gandalf out because he was Gandalf, but they
Yeah.
were not going to go anywhere near Mordor. Nope. That was it's like you
Well-
can have your friend that will help you out when you need help, but he's going to put his foot down on some things, and their foot was put down that they weren't getting involved. And then once they saw that the war was coming back, they did get involved, and that was everybody's like, oh well, they got involved in it. Well, they saw that it did happen. The war was back, and they had to help.
And you consider a hobbit is probably just a big old eagle snack. So,
Not
you
even
go with the
appetizer, if anything.
I'm gonna warn you guys. I foresee a lot of CGI. Let's check out this world pan and zoom shots in this cut. We're gonna get a lot of Darkseid's world and a lot of going through and seeing how it is. There's going to be a lot of time where there is no dialogue. A lot of time where it's just, look at what I can do with a computer and 50,000 people working on it.
I'm going to be rather disappointed if we don't get the character development and we get a lot more irrelevant plot.
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm just going to be sitting here next week with a really bad look on my face, but I don't want to be,
I'm going to be sitting here looking like this because the X-Men Last Stand was the only movie that pissed me off enough to walk out.
I didn't walk out of Last Stand, but damn, it was close.
I walked out of Last Stand. I just couldn't handle it. I watched it later with a different mindset. Actually, basically once Days of Future Past came out, and I can watch it going, it doesn't exist anymore because they fixed the timeline. They erased it legitimately, canonically. So I watched it, and I'm like, okay, well, I can enjoy this movie because I know it doesn't exist. It swayed, and they fixed it. But, Dark Phoenix, was that good?
I didn't watch it.
I own it.
I really didn't.
I've tried to watch it like 12 times, and the soundtrack puts me to sleep.
Which one? Dark Phoenix?
Dark Phoenix.
The
soundtrack literally puts me to sleep. Every time I try to watch it, the soundtrack is putting me to sleep. There's no action in the soundtrack for me.
I've been trying to work up the courage to watch it. I have not heard anything encouraging. I haven't.
I also bought New Mutants and got halfway through it and was like, trying.
After the first couple X-Men movies for me, I really didn't watch anymore after that. I didn't watch the younger ones. I didn't watch,
The X-Men movies are so hit and miss. So hit and miss. I mean, I like them. When they're on, they're good, but
yeah, you just got to watch the movies. The way I had Ashley, it's funny because I got friends and family that'll pull it up and be like, "Oh, how to watch the X-Men movies?" I'm like, "All right, let's put this in." I'm like, "No. X-Men First Class, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, the Wolverine, then Days of Future Past."
there's so many there you could skip.
So you gotta sit down and watch them. You watch. You can skip them, but to me, it's just like books. You could have an entire series of a book. You can skip a couple of them if you don't like it. But at the same time, they existed.
Yeah.
So
every now and then when you find one crappy version of something, there's one little tidbit in the book or the movie that pertains to everything else. And if the movie doesn't do anything else, that one little plot twist ties everything together. And, and like you have a crappy movie, but there's a 5-minute part of the movie that will tie everything else together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you miss it because it put you to sleep or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really walked out of a movie, but I've really sat there with some snoot face on watching a few of them,
Oh, I was having such a hard. I walked out, walked up to the manager of the theater, said I would like my money back for this movie, and he looked at me and was like, "Why? What's wrong with it?" I was like, I would not be asking my money back if you had sat me down and made me watch you burn comic books for 15 minutes.
Oh God.
I said that. If you would have sat me down and made me watch you burn comic books for 15 minutes, I would have said, fine, that's how you feel. But trying to pass this film off as a legitimate X-Men movie, no, I want my money back.
Oh God.
Oh, it angered me. I was
I'm gonna have to go, guys. My bladder's gonna explode.
X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up. So
Yeah.
thanks for joining us, Hella Queen.
Thank you.
Thanks
We'll
for
have to see. We have to try and get you back next week so we can all see how disappointed Rob is.
And if not, we can get together and do a video at some point. Just do like a recap video. And
Absolutely.
next week on our live, we can talk about maybe Falcon Winter Soldier, or find something new to talk about in the live, and just have a recap video for this one that we can edit and put up, and that way people can watch it without worry about spoilers of it if they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think X-Men and Winter Soldier is going to be really big next week. I think it's going to be like WandaVision, and coming out like that.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get some eyeballs on that for sure from after WandaVision. So.
I hope so.
The dynamic between the Winter Soldier and the Falcon should by itself be fun to watch.
From what I was reading, there's going to be a whole other dynamic in there of an issue with them taking up the Captain America mantle that, like, the U.S. government's like, no, we're getting someone else.
Yeah, I heard something about that too, like a whole different Captain America.
Yeah, they're bringing in somebody doing what was the name of the character in the comics?
Yeah, I didn't follow that much in the comic books.
I knew
there was a woman Captain America for a while too.
There was a guy who took over a Captain America-like role when Captain America stepped away, and that's kind of who they're bringing in to replace him.
Well, Bucky was Captain America for a while when Steve was supposedly dead. But
we'll have to see.
We'll have to talk about that on the next one.
That'll definitely have to be our next review.
Yes.
Sounds like fun.
Alrighty.
Talking to you guys.
Alec Queen, we'll go ahead and
good to see.
Say bye. All right, now for those of you who've stuck with us in the replay or even now, I'm gonna
for all our rambling. Ooh, yeah, I want to see that.
I want to open this up.
I have mine. I have my Batarang from the Arkham games that they had out.
Yeah.
The one that opens. Although I've had it the same way for so long, my spring is a little off. But yeah, I got this one. So I'm waiting to see the one you got.
There's a crafting wheel here. Why is there no knife or anything for me to cut stuff with? Come on, Crash. Where's your knife stuff? What the heck is that? That's a weird looking pen.
She's got it with all her diamond painting stuff.
So that's a weird pen. It's a diamond painting pen.
I don't even want to say. There's so many comments I can make right now, but
I know. I'm there with you. It's not Friday night though.
I wish I could see what the comments were on this, but when I moved to my phone, I can't see the
in the crafting bin. Helping Hands. You guys got to check out her channel if she's using all this stuff in there. I'm not even sure it's YouTube friendly.
Hey, we're always on Crashly's channel every Sunday for Sunday Social and everything else.
But not everybody who watches us is going to be watching her. Not everybody watches her watches us.
That's true.
Found one.
If you are on our channel and you do crafting as well, or your girlfriend or significant other or partner or whatever does any kind of crafting, there's Crafts with Crashly.
Halla Queen has her own crafting channel.
Halla Queen has her crafting channel.
You just watch her for over 2 hours.
Yeah, Valerie has her crafting channel, Handmade with Heart. So you know anybody? We can...
Earlier, like everybody that's in this chat, with the exception of my mom, sister, have crafting channels basically, and they're all awesome. Check them out. All right,
definitely. All right, here we go.
I opened it. I just lowered the value of it if I ever wanted to resell it.
And what do we say? And what do we say to our wives or significant others when they say, "Are you going to sell that?"
No,
no, not even a little. I think I heard a lot of nerds' heads explode.
The display.
Nice.
And now.
Oh, that looks nice.
It is nice. It's
got some heft to it.
It's plastic.
Oh, okay.
Could be worse.
Oh, it folds too.
Yeah, it folds too. It's
nice.
It's not like for the money. Whatever.
It's
$20, $10.
Still looks good. Definitely looks good.
It looks cool. I mean, got its little display different color to help showcase the Batarang better. But
I like that. Yeah, usually with like collectibles and stuff, I'll leave them in the box. But when they have a nice display stand like that and things, I'll open them up and put them out.
Oh yeah, and it's also one of those things. You can also display it with the box.
There you go. Look at that. Looks good. Yeah, I've been to my Walmart and everywhere lately in the last few days looking for one, and I haven't found them.
I looked on Walmart's app and it doesn't say they're available in stores. I don't know how I managed to come across it, but I mean, it's cool. I would have preferred diecast.
Yeah,
I can see why they didn't do diecast because even as plastic, these points.
Yeah, they're gonna smack somebody up. You try throwing it.
Are pretty sharp. If this were diecast, I could see somebody taking it.
Yeah, whipping it around at you.
Yeah, but I mean the spring action in it's pretty cool. The fold up action, it actually, it's pretty nice. Maybe get something to put it on your wrist.
Then you start looking like Predator.
Oh, those toys at Walmart, the Predator and Alien toys.
Yeah,
I got some.
Got
one of each.
Yeah, I have a guy here when I do Santa, when we were still seeing people in public. He's got a Halloween shop during the week, like during the year, and it turns into a Christmas shop after Halloween. It's called Scarecrows or Christmas Wonderland. He's got a whole section with the collectible toys like that, like the Alien and Predator, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Jason, all those kind of things. Yeah, he's got they sell the Annabelle dolls, like the full size Annabelles, the Chucky and Tiffany, all that kind of stuff. And I was, I'm going to be getting. I've gotten a few collectibles in there from him too. My daughter likes Coraline, that movie, and he had a lot of the Coraline figures in there too that I got for her.
See, I'm gonna have to. Is that Comic-Con? That con we're going to be going to, is that anywhere near there? Because I might just have to save up some money and hit some stuff out.
Well, it's literally down the road from my house. So if you're up here, you stay with us, you go to the con. The times we're not at the con, I'll show you all these, all the stores, the thrift shops we were talking about with all the Star Wars and Star Trek and everything else, and my buddy's comic book store.
I'm most definitely going to be checking them out because we've got some thrift shops up here, but with what they have, I watch what they buy from auctions and I know their prices are outrageous.
Yeah.
Plus with COVID, I haven't really been able to go to a lot of them because Columbia was just going crazy with the whole, restaurants can't be open past 8 o'clock. If they're serving food past 8 o'clock, it's contributing to the COVID. What? Yeah,
what does COVID come out at night down there like vampires?
Like Walmart they did this whole thing where they shut down. You could have a store of 24 hours where you could have it spaced out to where anybody can go to the store to be able to help keep the number of people in the store down and have two exits and exits so you can social distance a lot better. Yet the Walmarts out here decided, you know what, let's close one of them and then lower our hours to close at 7.
Oh, God.
So everybody's got to cram in there the 2 hours they get out of work and go in and out of one exit. How are you going to social distance and not be around a crap ton of people? Now they close at 11, but
yeah, I have to take you to my the comic book store I go to. I know the guy that owns Wade's Comic Madness. If I could say that on here, we'll give him some advertising there. Great shop.
It's our channel.
But
We
like,
can advertise whoever we want.
that's true. And we have he's got comic books all over. So he's got like 2 stores down the basement, but he's got a lot of collectibles. Like the statues, the figures, the toys. He's got stuff I haven't seen in years. He's got Star Wars figures from the 70s and 80s still on the cards. Everything in there. That's the place to go around here. Comics and collectibles is Wade's Comic Madness.
It is. My only problem with comics and collectible stores like that, I can't afford them.
I get my comic books there, and I try to stick to. He's got like all the variants. The comics are starting at like $2 or $3.99, and they have them all the way up with the different variants. And you can see the back issues are good prices. He's got dollar bins. He's got free comic day when you go and buy these. You can get these.
Oh
like
yeah.
he's definitely good with the pricing. Granted, a lot of the collectibles are expensive, but
yeah, that's what it is. Buying comics at a comic book store isn't bad unless you're looking at the collectible comics, though,
right.
slabs and high-end, issues. With me, it's the collectibles, getting the collectibles at a comic book store. That's where, you could go online and find the statue for less than what you're buying it in the store. Now, granted, you don't get to pick it up, look at it, and make sure it's the right, everything
Right.
about it. But I just have and I understand what they're doing. They got to make their money. They got to stay open.
Right.
And that's where they make them. And a lot of times it's reselling what they bought from somebody else, and people are going to want retail for it. And I get it. I just have a hard time paying retail prices for stuff. That's why I shop auctions.
Yeah. He's got like a lot of consignment stuff too. Like people can bring in and sell the collectible comics and things like that too. But of course, I'm sure he's going to get a piece of it.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I like about buying collectibles and stuff in there sometimes, because unless I've seen it before, I am one that I have to see it and touch it and hold it and play with it for a minute to see what you're getting. I like that. I was looking at that the whole time. I like that.
They didn't have the Chase. The Chase has red eyes. But I was like, you guys have the Chase? They're like, no, we don't have the Chase. But they had him. And I was like, I will go ahead and make my first giant pop. Superman.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, I got the ones from Discovery the other day, and I got one yesterday that I saw. I really liked it. I didn't think I was gonna see anything like this at Walmart.
yeah.
It was it's a pop, but it's called Frontline Heroes. Let me get that. I was surprised. Yeah, I've never seen these before today, and it's because being in healthcare myself, I thought, oh my God, that's awesome! It's a guy in scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I really thought that was cool. They had the other one with a woman in scrubs with a lab coat, and then they had this one, the guy in scrubs with the mask and everything. I thought that was really cool.
I wish they'd come out with another line of Frontline Heroes where you've got plumbers and electricians and all those others. Like, granted, we weren't in the hospitals, but we were still having to go into random people's homes.
Yeah. Oh, I know how that is.
It was insane.
Oh, yeah. It's not just healthcare, firemen, police officers, anybody performing any kind of service right now in your houses or otherwise.
Yep.
You don't realize how much of a difference that makes.
And that was my thing. Like, I would go, it was unnerving because on any given day, I could be in 5 to 6 different people's houses.
Yeah.
And you're not just in their house, you're dealing with the water that's been sitting in their bathroom sink and stuff like that. And it's like, if there is ever a place for germs to accumulate, it's the water sitting in a bathroom sink.
Yeah.
So like you're walking in with masks and gloves, and you get done, you go out, you like pour a gallon of hand sanitizer all over you.
It's really, hold on, I'm gonna go take a dip in this barrel full of Purell. I'll be right back.
No, I got lucky. I got sick a couple times last year, but I always tested negative. It was always like flu or some weird other thing. We don't know what it's like symptoms, but
Well, we actually had it here. Me, Val, the kids, we had the COVID-19 back in July, and we were miserable for about 3 days. I mean, we got very lucky. We were sick for about 3-4 days, and I think I got it from a patient's house when I went to see a patient, and it was pretty bad. It was bad for about a week. Then when your taste is off, and then you got to deal with, your kids are miserable and you're miserable and you're trying to help them. At least we got it and we got it out of the way, but we got lucky. We didn't have it as bad as I'm sure a lot of people could and did.
like I said,
But,
I got lucky. I could still eat with taste my food. I didn't get it, so knocking on wood that I don't get it.
yeah.
But I just it was. I was worried because I got come home to your family. It's like you said, you got it, and your family's going to get it.
Yeah.
It's quarantine because is very hard to do, and it was annoying. And it was even more annoying when you go in and people wouldn't care. You have a mouth breather standing right there. What are you gonna do? What's up? I need to back away, please.
Yeah, and for me it was the same way because you go in and you're thinking the patient, you're going to deal with the patient, and then all of a sudden you're not thinking offhand, wait a minute, the patient's family is there too. Where have they been? What have they been doing? That's how I think we got it. They sent me to one patient's house. The patient was fine. The father had it. And you don't know right away because it takes the incubation period and all that. So I get a phone call 2 days later. Sorry, the father had it. You might want to get tested. I'm like, that's why I feel like crap with this fever and can't breathe. And at my age and my medical history, I was in the hospital for a day or two.
Yep.
On top of it.
You show up and there's like 6 people in the house partying and horsing around, throwing a fit because their sink's not draining and the light's not working or the stove's not working. They're trying to make dinner for everybody and the stove's not working. And it's like, come on. But,
go stand outside on the grill.
yeah. It's just, it was crazy, but and all of our nerd stuff got postponed.
Yeah, we got it out.
The con in St. Louis got postponed and then canceled this year. Still looking at the one for Kansas City and the one in Cape. Wanting to go to those two, and I'm wanting to go to at least one out there. It'd be cool if you could come to one out here, but I understand travel, man. So, but
yeah,
that's a heads up on one of the things we're going to do. We're hoping to go from a live together at a con, and you guys can be there with us. It's 10:30. We're going to go ahead and back off here. And we'll catch you next time. Live long and prosper. This is the way.
This is the way. And we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Yeah.